If you have trouble understanding my accent, turn on subtitles. I don't wanna admit this in such an embarrassing way, but this cat is not only my best friend, but a real furry daughter. And it's important to know the history of your relatives, as you know. And since you don't know anything about domestication of cats and other animals, you better listen. Well, first of all, no matter how trivial it may sound, we didn't really tame the cat, but vice versa. Cats as predators were attracted to rodents, which loved to eat the crops of the first farmers. And people were not stupid back then, well, not all of them. More cats meant less rodents and therefore more harvest for the hard-working people. So no one chased kittens with sticks. That's how cats began to live alongside us. But when did these dangerous creatures turn into a lazy ass sleeping on your bed? The thing is, nobody knows. Well, almost nobody knows. In the past 30 years, more theories about cat domestication have surfaced that you would believe. And each time new archaeological finds have somehow managed to screw up the work of previous researchers. What we do know is that cats were domesticated about 10,000 years ago, most likely somewhere in the Fertile Crescent region, which is right around here. The oldest archaeological evidence of cat domestication to date is 9,500 years old tomb discovered in Cyprus, in which a Paleolithic man was buried with his furry companion. The most likely ancestor of all modern domestic cats was Felis sylvestre libica, or the African wildcat. This species still exists, by the way, and as you can see, there is almost no difference in appearance between modern cats. If you see one on the street near your house, you won't even notice any difference. This was, to speak, the first stage of relations between cats and humans, the business stage. The next stage of domestication took place about 3,500 years ago in Egypt. This Egyptian cat already had behavioral traits that made it attractive to human, not in a vulgar way, but you know, the cat was sociable, didn't hiss, made contact, slept in funny poses, and people were like, wow, you sleep so beautiful, I should take a picture of you and never open it again. With this new behavior, kittens could not only be kept in the shithole you call the house, but could also be taken on trips, including at sea, where they would catch rodents and entertain sailors. And that's how cats spread all over the earth. In 2016, scientists also discovered another possible case of cat domestication in China. It is thought that a short-term domestication of leopard cats may have occurred independently of the rest planet. Look how beautiful he is. But there is no evidence that modern cats have any genes from these leopard cats. So if there was such a domestication, it was short-lived. It is also not known exactly when domesticated cats appeared in Europe. It used to be thought that cats were brought to most of Europe by the ancient Romans. However, not so long ago, scientists allegedly find some cat-like remains in a cave in Poland that dated back to 5990 BC. In short, this whole topic is very confusing. Maybe something new was discovered there, you know, while I was making the video, so just in case, put a dislike. Also, if you looked at the screen during the video and did nothing else, who the fuck am I spending 30 hours creating 3D things in Blender for every video? And then you say it's all AI. So, you may have noticed that all the wild ancestors of the cats I showed were not very colorful. Well, that's not surprising. In the forest or savanna, like in the war, you need camouflage on your fur. It's easier to sit invisible in the bushes than to run from all kinds of predators. The first mottled and stripped coats of domestic cats appeared somewhere in the Middle Ages. And in the 18th and 19th centuries, people started selecting cats with special characteristics to create a number of different breeds. Mine, for example, is a British chinchilla, and I don't even want to know what kind of chinchillas her ancestors mated with. If you ever been to a farm or Slavic village, you have noticed that not all the animals in the world are domesticated. Not even the majority, only 3% of all species on the planet are domesticated. First of all, this is due to the cost of feeding the animal. Just try to cook for an elephant all the time to make it grow, and you always have to clean up his poop. Other reasons included the animal's growth rate, ease of reproduction, aggression and freedom-loving nature. Goats, for example, are cool to keep on the farm farm because they can make babies anywhere and anytime, just give them a reason. And thanks to a mutation in one of their genes, they can eat almost anything. You have 100% seen how this devilish creature chewing random things, and then you run to take the stuff out of its mouth, thinking what a stupid animal, but it turns out it's not stupid and can actually eat it. However, keeping a goat as a paper shredder is not a bad idea, but a pig? No kidding, about 8 years ago there was a family in my neighborhood that kept a pig in their apartment. Not a mini pig, a normal big ass pig. And I'm from Kiev for a second, not some godforsaken village. By the way, pigs were domesticated about 10,000 years ago, right after sheep, goats and cows. It happened in the Middle East, and scientists believe that their domestication followed the cat scenario. That is, wild pigs first got used to living around people and then they were domesticated. About 8,500 years ago, these tame pigs came to Europe, where the local people simply grazed them freely without hesitation. Thus, an interesting situation developed. A domesticated pig walks in a field. A wild boar runs out of the forest and sorry start to make intercourse. So by 3000 BC, the genes of the European wild boars had almost completely replaced the genes of the original Middle Eastern pigs. A kind of sheep of Theseus. By the way, interesting fact. Did you know that in nature, for a female cheetah to ovulate, a couple of males have to chase her around the savannah for several days? Now you know. If you feel uncomfortable in a job interview or on a date, feel free to share this fact. I'm giving you this knowledge absolutely free of charge, except that I will ask you to subscribe to the channel. But if you're curious how those hairly camouflage boars become pink pigs, it's simple. A long time ago, people in the Middle East simply started selecting pigs with a mutation in the MC1 gene responsible for color. But they did not select for beauty, they selected for logic. After all, you would be hard-pressed to find a camouflaged brown pig grazing behind a tree or in a bush. For example, do you see a pig here? Now you understand. So the first uncamouflaged black pigs appeared in the world. Yet they didn't turn pink right away, and after brown they were black. But the most interesting and provocative animal in terms of domestication is the horse. The fact is that no one knows where it was first domesticated. Almost every country in Eurasia theorizes that this animal was tamed by their ancestors. And this is not surprising, nobody cares who domesticated a pig or a duck, it's not illegal. And horses, on the other hand, have such a cool and optimistic cartoons about them. But there is still no 100% reliable information about any place of domestication. It is also difficult to find the ancestors of the modern horse. It was once widely believed that this ancestor was a tarpan, an animal that is now extinct, but which roamed the steppes of Europe until the end of the 19th century. Here is the only photo of this tarpan. By the way, the last wild representative was killed on the territory of Ukraine, somewhere in the Zaporizhia region in 1879, and I'm sorry about that. But as a result of research, some scientists have found that tarpans are most likely a cross between European wild horse and domesticated horses of the Caspian Sea region. So the main theory now is that the ancestors of the modern horse was simply wiped out a long time ago. So long ago that we don't even remember who it was. As you can see, it's a nightmare to find out about these horses and other animals, especially in the literal dark because of the blackout after the Russians fired drones and missiles at my country every day. So I don't have time to tell you about the domestication of dogs and other interesting animals. So if you want an next part, write in the comments. Also be sure to check out the video about the most absurd KGB arrests.